Well, it's been 3 weeks since President Trump met with Vladimir Putin in Alaska amid hopes for a breakthrough on Ukraine. Today, the international community convened in Paris under the Coalition of the Willing, with 26 countries pledging to bolster Ukraine's security post-conflict. Scripps News international correspondent Jason Bellini joins us now live from Washington. And Jason, given that last month's Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska looked promising, at least on paper, what's the state of play now, especially after today's talks in Paris?
Hi, Andrew. Well, the state of play, it includes a surge in Russian attacks in the last few weeks since that summit. The attacks have actually nearly doubled in terms of the number of missiles and drones that Putin's been attacking targets. The Ukrainians say it's almost entirely civilian targets that they're hitting. In fact, we have a new emblem of the cruelty of these attacks in a 2-year-old girl and her mother, who just a week ago were killed in an attack on Kyiv that killed 23 people. So it has just been unrelenting there. Now, as far as what came out of that Alaska summit, remember, there was no ceasefire. That was the main goal. There was no ceasefire agreed to. And you also had Trump saying afterward that Ukraine would have to cede territory, which you have Zelensky flat out rejecting. And so that hasn't even been discussed much in the weeks since then. The other thing I think it's worth noting is that Trump seemed increasingly angry with Russia, especially the last few days. And in fact, there was a call today between Trump and European leaders in which he, according to White House officials who shared this information with Scripps News, in which he encouraged European leaders to put economic pressure on Russia by not buying their oil anymore. So that's quite a change in tone from the president from just a few weeks ago, Andrew.
So, Jason, how is the U.S. positioning itself? Does Trump's phone call today with Zelensky and those other European leaders suggest some renewed engagement on the side of the U.S., or is there something else at play here?
It does appear that the U.S. is now more open to the security guarantees that the Europeans are taking the lead in putting into place. Now, remember that Putin would have to agree to these, and that's unlikely. The Kremlin has made it very clear they don't want to see European troops on the ground, that they would be highly averse to any type of security arrangements that involved European troops, not under the banner of NATO, but European troops on the border with Russia. That said, Macron said that he expects for Trump to clarify in the next few days what role the U.S. will play. And the Europeans and President Zelensky have been very clear that, yes, it's great that you've got 26 European countries that are all coming together in this coalition of the willing, but without the United States, it's a paper tiger. The thing I think is worth pointing out is that we're now approaching the 2-week deadline that Trump set for Putin to get engaged and to show that he is sincere in his interest in negotiating for peace. Well, that's coming up this week. What will happen should he miss that deadline, should Putin miss that deadline? One thing that we're hearing more and more discussion about are sanctions, serious sanctions in coordination between the U.S. and European allies, Andrew.
All right, our international correspondent Jason Bellini for us in Washington. Jason, thank you.